Tenakill House, Raheen, Mountrath, County Laois is a Georgian house built in about 1770, and it is the ancestral home of the celebrated Lalor family, which has produced a line of most respectable and most remarkable people. They have, in their lifetimes, made distinguished contributions to the political, military and social developments in Ireland, Spain, Australia and America. Because of their selfless contributions, the restoration and development of Tenakill House must be completed as a fitting tribute to them. Tenakill House is a unique structure in that it is a non-ascendancy house, and in its heyday it was visited by the leading politicians of the day, such as Daniel O'Connell and Charles Stewart Parnell. In late 2016, a committee came together to undertake the restoration project, and aided by the involvement of Councillor Jerry Lodge, an application for grant assistance from Laois County Council was submitted and was successful. Conservation architect Richard McLaughlin was appointed by the committee and work commenced immediately. Noel Ryan of Heritage Masonry, a very experienced contractor who had worked on the restoration of the Rock of Cashel and the War Cottage near Ballingarry, County Tipperary, was retained to do the work. As can be seen from the pictures, the house was in a serious state of dereliction, the roof having collapsed inwards sometime in the 1970s. Our first picture shows how the structure was damaged by ivy and by the rain percolating down through the unprotected walls. There was also considerable damage done to the internal walls, and the building was in a really perilous state. To date, 3 phases of work have been undertaken and completed, and the 4th phase is about to be embarked on. This will involve the cleaning out of the debris in the house, which will have to be sifted for artefacts which may have been covered when the roof of the structure collapsed inwards. The work which has been completed could not have been done except for the involvement of the National Heritage Council, which made available a grant for an investigation of the structure. This assessment was carried out by Richard McLaughlin, and it forms the basis for the programme of the restoration of the house. The involvement of Laois County Council through the good offices of the Chief Executive, Mr John Mulholland, and the Heritage Officer, Catherine Casey, has been crucial, and was inspired by their belief in the value of this historic building and the contribution of the members of the Lalor family to politics locally and internationally. Our next number of pictures show the remedial work which has been completed: the removal of the ivy, the repairs to the windows, the restoration of the pediment and the capping of the walls have transformed the building, and it is now structurally safe. The work above has been completed since early 2017 in 3 phases, and we are about to enter this into the 4th phase. The current committee is the 3rd one to be formed with the aim of restoring Tenakill House. Neither of the 2 other committees, for varying reasons, succeeded in completing any physical work in the house. Why save Tenakill House? Well, there are 4 compelling reasons as to why the house must be restored, and they are to honour the contributions of Honest Pat Lalor, his 3 sons, James Fintan, Richard MP and Peter, the leader of the goldminers at the Eureka Stockade, Ballarat, Victoria State in Australia. The latter became an MP and later Speaker of the House of Parliament in Victoria State, and is regarded as the father of Australian democracy. So highly respected in Australia's Peter Lalor that huge numbers of Australian politicians and dignitaries have visited Tenakill House down through the years. The current Australian ambassador, Richard Andrews, was the latest to do so in February 2017, when he spent the entire day absorbing the history of this illustrious family. The family history shows that Honest Pat Lalor MP in 1830 took a stand against the hated tithes, which he declared in 1830 at a meeting in Maribor, now Portlaoise, that he would never again pay this despised tax. As a consequence of this decision, the bailiffs came to Tenakill and seized some of his sheep in lieu of the tithes. By an order of Replevin, Lalor secured the return of the animals, but he knew this would be only a temporary respite. In the interim, he had his blacksmith make a template with the word Tithe, and he had the sheep branded on each side with this word. The sheep were subsequently re-seized and brought to Mountrath and offered for sale, but they attracted no bids. They eventually were brought to Liverpool, but unfortunately they attracted no bids and finally died from exhaustion. The action of Honest Pat Lalor was one of the first in what became known as the Tithe Wars, and which eventually led to the discontinuance of the tithes. Honest Pat went on to be elected to Parliament in Westminster, where he became a close friend of Daniel O'Connell, who was also a regular visitor to Tenakill House. Honest Pat's three sons, James, Fintan, Richard and Peter, much to the anger of their father, were involved in the 1849 Young Irelander abortive uprising in Cashel, County Tipperary. The previous year, James Fintan tried to incite the people of Borrisoleigh, County Tipperary, to rebel, but this was a failure and he was arrested and imprisoned in Neenah and Dublin. Following the debacle at Cashel, Peter and Richard made good their escape to Tenakill, only to be subjected to the wrath of their father, who was a pacifist. It was sometimes after this event that the two brothers sailed for Australia. However, it is not for this involvement in two abortive attempts at insurrection that James Fintan is best remembered, but for his unrelenting search for a resolution to the vexed question of the inequities associated with the land use in Ireland. His untiring and unrelenting demands were for a system that would give the tenant farmers